So generally, a real-life network system contains hosts, servers, routers, switches, firewalls, and, well, sometimes many other components. So you're going to need to divide the network, do some cabling, and configure the components as well. However, that's not all. And I might even go so far as to say that may be the very least. So in other words, you're still going to need to do more, both with the physical components as well as software. But what should you do when you need to try to simulate a network? Now, as an individual, you can, of course, pay for all the network components and equipment, but I don't think that's going to work here. So, thanks to virtualization technology, that's going to help us build our own network system. So, I think virtualization is a great place to start. Although I'll tell you this, that containerization technology, that's coming up in the field these days, but you're going to want to start by learning virtualization. VMware Workstation Player. So with virtualization software, you can create a fully functional real-life network inside your host computer. Virtualization software is very powerful, and they also have a rich set of features that compare to dual booting machines. They mostly support cloning a virtual machine, and you can duplicate a VM as well. And again, most of them provide taking snapshots of the VM so that you can revert back to a clean state just in case you mess up your machine. So this feature, Revert Back, is terrific, and you'll certainly understand what I mean if you can't visualize it yourself when we practice. Now, another great feature is the ability to be able to change the size of the virtual disk, the RAM, number of processors, and so on. Now, naturally, you're also going to find the networking options in virtualization software are impressive. Generally, they have a different perspective for networking. Host-only, NAT, and bridged are only some of the options. So at the very beginning, that might confuse you, but don't worry, because in the demo section, I'm going to show you how you can choose and configure these options. Now, you're also going to be allowed to enable some additional features, such as copying and pasting text between the host and the virtual machine, as well as improved graphic performance and synchronization of the clock. Now, of course, along with these features, there are some drawbacks when you need to run a processor-intensive task, such as cracking passwords. What? We get to crack passwords? Remember, this is ethical hacking. But we don't need to use that much processing power in the lab itself. So anyway, in this course, you can use VMware Workstation Player as a desktop virtualization application. So it is a virtualization software package for 64-bit computers running Microsoft Windows or Linux. It's available for free for personal use, and it's supplied by VMware Inc. Now, VMware Player can run existing virtual machines as well as create its own. It uses the same virtualization core as VMware Workstation. So VMware Inc. does not formally support the player, but there is an active community website for discussing and resolving issues. Now, I think that its power lies in the fact that it's deceptively simple to use. But I don't have the intention to tell you everything about it. You really should familiarize yourself with all the features that certainly I tell you about virtualization software and anything else that you've either gathered before or can research on your own. But for now and for this course, let's go ahead and install it, and then we can have a quick look at the tool. So open up your favorite browser and type VMware Workstation Player in the search box. And click the first link to go to the download page. And you can see the latest version here is version 15. So we're going to use this version. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the download options for the major host systems. Click on the option which is suitable for you. So, of course, what I mean by the host is what your main operating system installed is on your computer. Now, here I'm using Windows 10 as my host, so I'm going to download the Windows option. But you can instead download for Linux if you are indeed using the Linux operating system. So, okay, let's save the file, and the download has started. Now go to your Downloads folder, and let me just close the browser, and double-click on the exe file, and the installation will start in a few seconds. Now, the installation process, of course, is very easy. Just click Next. Okay, read the license, please, as you always do, I'm sure. Then accept the license agreement. Click Next again. And I don't want to install this feature, so I'm going to leave it unchecked and click Next. Good. Now, also, I'm going to uncheck these fields and click Next again. Next. And now I can finally click Install. Now, it's not going to take that much time to install, just a few seconds. And there it is. The installation has finished. Now, you can also provide a license if you have one, but we're not going to need a license. We're just going to use it for personal use only, and click Finish. All right, so now you're done, and I'm going to close this window, and then here on my desktop, there's a shortcut for the Workstation player. So I'm just going to open Workstation player by double-clicking on it. And like I said earlier, the first option is good for us. Click Continue. All righty then, so this is the Workstation player window. There it is, in all its glory. That's what it looks like. Very simple, yet very powerful. So at this point, I'll offer congratulations because you have installed VMware Workstation Player. I want you to play around, be familiar with some of the menus before you start hacking, okay? So right now, let's install some of the other components for your lab.